going to show you how to set up your box file ready for the laser cutter. So we're going to be using Illustrator, so Adobe Illustrator. You will need to make sure that you've got an account for this. This is something that your teacher will help you set up. Then you need to open up your STEM PDF ready from the for Adventure, open it up into Illustrator, and it should look something like this. All right. The first thing that we're going to do is get the box cutout lines, so these lines here, ready for cutting. So we're going to do that by selecting. So I've got the over here we've got two selection tools. I've got the the full white arrow selected. So I'm just going to drag that over that. So it's just holding down the left hand of the key of your mouse, and I'm just going to highlight that. All right. What I want to do is change the point, so it should be 0.001 millimeters. So double M and enter. And then I'm also going to change the color. All right, so at the moment it's black. What I want to do is make sure that I'm in the RGB. Okay, if you happen to be something like this, you want to change it to swatches, and then over here you can make sure it's RGB. So if it comes in at CMYK, then you just want to change that to RGB. All right. This needs to be 255. Okay, and then tab 0 and 0. Or you can just click on those and write 0 and 0. So it should be 255 for red, and then 0 for green, and 0 for blue. We're just going to enter. So that is the color that the laser cutter recognizes as a cut path. The next thing we're going to do is think about what you'd like to place on your box. So in terms of cutting or etching, what kind of pictures you'd like to do. So if you've saved something from the internet, you can go and find that now. Otherwise, you will need to save a picture to your computer. What you want to do is go to File and then Place. And then you need to find the image that you'd like. So I'm just going to go to my downloads folder, and I've got a few images of flowers. So I'm going to pick this rose one here, and I'm going to place that just randomly on my page. All right. Just going to zoom out a little bit so I can see the full image. Okay, you can see that it's got this blue line around it. That means that that is selected. What I want to do is actually image trace it. Okay, so there's this button at the top here called Image Trace. So once I've placed my image in, I'm just going to resize it. Now there's two ways of resizing. You can either just drag the corner in and change it to whatever sort of shape and size you want, but that doesn't hold its scale, so it doesn't hold the proper shape. So instead, the best way to do it is by holding Shift on your keypad and then pulling in that corner so it keeps its scale. So it's all in proportion. All right, I'm going to place that where I want it. So I'm just going to grab it and place it onto my lid. I think I'm going to go a little bit smaller. So same thing, just Shift and the corner, holding that down. Excellent. All right. Now, what we want to do now is actually trace around this image. Okay, so we want to click Image Trace at the top, and then we want to expand it. All right. The reason that we do that is it goes all the way around these little edges, okay, and creates all these different little shapes. It also means that when you've put an image on that maybe I don't have saved on my computer, or that we don't have saved on the laser cutter computer, it's not going to disappear. All right, so it's important to make sure we flatten the images and identify all the different lines on our Illustrator file so that it's ready for etching on the computer. Oh, sorry, on the laser cutter. All right, so that's how you place an image in and image trace it. You can do as many images as you want on all different sides if you like, but I'm just going to stick with the one on the lid. I'm now going to show you how to do some text as well. All right, so over on the side here, you've got a text or a type tool. Just click on that. We just want type, and we're just going to click sort of roughly where we're happy with the text to go. I'm just going to write my name for this one, so you can just type, and then I'm just going to select it, and I'm going to go over here and choose a font that I'm happy with. So I can scroll through and find a font. That one's quite nice. And then choose the size. So that one's probably fine. You can go up and down in smaller increments than just picking from the scroll, and you can also write in amounts. So if there's one that doesn't exist that you're not happy with, you can change the amount. Go back down to 70. I think that's a pretty good amount. All right, I'm going to position that where I'm happy with it. And now I'd actually like to cut my name out. All right, so instead of it just being etched on like my flower is going to be etched on, I'm going to cut it out. So we need to change it to that red that we talked about before, and the appropriate line weight too. So anything that's black will be etched, so it can be any thickness of line or any thinness of line. If you want it cut, you need to change the outline of the shape or the text so that it's ready for cutting. So for this one, I'm going to have to make that into a shape as well, and to do that, I'm going to click Create Outlines. So you can see now I've got all these different lines around my text. I can resize it by doing the same thing before, shift and then resizing like that. Otherwise, you can resize it before, like we did with the sizing over here. Okay, I'm going to just join the text together. So my text was cursive, so rather than having the I separate and the C separate and the A separate, I've just used that button that I had before, which is two squares crossing over each other, to make it, this one here, sorry, to make it all come together, all right? Now, I'm going to just have a look and see if there's any point here where maybe something would drop out. So if we have a look at this A, for instance, the laser cutter is going to come around and cut all around there, and it's also going to cut this middle part, okay? But because it's doing this outside line, this center part's going to fall away, and it will just be a big hole for this A. There won't be anything holding this white bit here in, okay? So we're going to change that. What you need to do is select the text, come over here to where we've got all our tools, and click on the eraser tool. I'm going to zoom in a bit more so I can see. And we're actually going to erase part of our A so that we get that little bridge, we call it a little bridge, that holds this piece together. So you can see now, the black part's what's going to fall away in the laser cutter, so that part will go and be the see-through bit, and then this part here, the white, will be what still stays for our lid. That's the only letter that I've got that I need to do that to, but you might have a look and see you've got lots of points that needs to happen, and so you just need to work your way through and make sure that you've selected that text and erased it. Last thing we need to do for that is just take away the fill, so clicking on fill and clicking on the white square with the red line, and then also changing our stroke. So same thing, changing the color, so you can see that's defaulted to the CMYK. I'm going to change it to RGB, but I just need to select a color to start with because it had no color. So I've just clicked the black there and then changing it to RGB 255 tab 0 tab 0. So just changing those to 0 and the top one 255, enter, and then just got to change that stroke line as well. So 0.001 millimeters, enter. Now you can see that my name and the outside of our boxes all look the same, and that's ready for cutting. So have a play and see what you can come up with. There's lots of different things that you can do. You can cut out shapes, you can etch on text, doesn't really matter, but as long as you've got those, the parts that you'd like etched in black, and then the parts that you'd like cut with the the line weight, the appropriate line weight and color, then you're ready to go.